Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Shane Lake with you here in the Tony Trepasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We do apologize for the delay, as, of course, all things considered, why not during championship week here in the Gunr4sR rating truck series? Why wouldn't we have technical difficulties with YouTube? Dave Regal, as I had mentioned, along with Shane Lake. Nicholas Snyder, your race leader right now, just ahead of Jacob Prince. Shane, listen, I know that this was all kind of flying around uncontrollably, but thank goodness for now that all things considered, we are on the air, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and we got ourselves a championship battle to decide here tonight between four drivers, Nick Snyder being one of them, alongside Eric Shearer, Lucas Derjersky, and Brandon Mayer are the four drivers competing for a championship here tonight. I'm excited to see how the crown jewel of the desert settles this one.
Yeah, a duel in the desert for sure tonight. Right now, Jacob Prince leads Brandon Mayer by about 0.4 of a second here as we work lap number 5 of 98. Now, as I'm trying to do a little bit of research here because, of course, during all of this, some stuff got, let's just say, for lack of a better term, shuffled away, if you will, as I'm trying to find all of our information for tonight's race, because this has been something that this league has been waiting for all season long. Of course, Eric Shearer, Nick Snyder, Lucas Derjersky, and Brandon Mayer all vying for that top spot. Best finisher going to take the championship trophy home, and then, of course, a little bit of an off-season tonight. As right now, it looks like Mayer is the highest running driver right now in the 34. And he's just about a half second ahead of Lucas Derjersky.
Yeah, we got ourselves a 98-lap race tonight with the stages going lap 20 and lap 78. 3 sets of tires, 65% fuel, which means these guys are going to be going roughly 60 laps on a tank, which means there will be some strategy involved towards the end of this race, I'm sure. And there is one fast repair in case somebody gets too far damaged.
7 laps in the books, so right now, as drivers are basically all single file, we're going to be watching a lot of these battles. One by one, they're going to go as we work here at Phoenix Raceway, formerly known as ISM. Of course, that front open dogleg here for many of these drivers is going to be beneficial, especially with that solid axle when they come back up here onto the racing surface. They're going to be able to get a lot of speed and a lot of momentum dragged off into turn number 1. Stephen McGough here in the 83. He's getting ready to chase down Gary Mansberger as we're going to ride along with him right here as we follow the Yee F-150. And in fact, let's look here from Mansberger's point of view, as now he's going to look back here at McGough. McGough comes out of turn 2, and now they're on the back chute. This is one heck of a long racetrack when you think about it. You know, even though that it's not a long racetrack, you know, mileage-wise, it's that dog leg. It's getting around pit road. You know, it's a lot of technical stuff on this track.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Nazareth in the way they've reconfigured this track. It's definitely Nazareth-esque, and it's only a mile in length, but unfortunately, with all the cutting that these guys are going to do in the corners, with everything they've got going on, it drives more like maybe towards 1.25 miles, because you're also seeing speeds that are going to be sitting at 160, 165 miles an hour going down into turn 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see brake fade on these trucks, and also with the new characteristics of these vehicles after iRacing did their updating, in which these guys had an hour-long practice session. It's going to be interesting to see how the side force ends up being a factor in this race as well.
Well, and you know, here's the thing with these trucks. Now, yesterday, you and I got to see it in the Tuesday Night NASCAR Truck Series live from, where were we last night? My goodness, it feels like every week is...
It was Gateway.
Yeah,
Gateway.
I'm sorry. It feels like every week is just running together. You know, and when we were at Gateway, we actually found out in the open... Mind you, that's an open setup league, that actually it was the iRacing preset fixed setup that won last night's race.
Yeah, just a little bit of mad scientisting going around, seeing what they could do with this. Sometimes you'd be surprised what people can come up with in the heat of a moment. And with the adjustability that these vehicles now have, you can definitely tweak this thing a little bit more to your liking without sacrificing the entire setup.
Yeah, and I mean, here we are working lap number 13, and we're already seeing some of these drivers working their way through the field as suddenly we have side-by-side action here between the 33 of Lucas Dureski and, of course, Nick Hicks just ahead of him. Now, Nick Hicks trying to hold on up here, but watch Dureski take the dogleg as we work here on 14 crossing the line, and Dureski just has this thing dialed in as now he's going to slide up here alongside the 15 once again. They're going to be battling it out for a long time coming until somebody either makes a mistake or simply gives back just a little bit to the competition.
Yeah, and the way that this dog leg is, the outside line's going to get the monstrous run coming off the corners, but the inside line's going to be right there with them. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be blinking first and try to end up getting around somebody. As the 33 will slide back up in front of the 5 of Nick Snyder. And we're going back down the back straightaway one more time.
As we work here on lap number 15, I just want to highlight again the playoff drivers that are out here. Nick Snyder, Eric Scherer, Lucas Dureski, and Brandon Meyer. And, of course, we can see those drivers. We're going to get those colors worked in there because, here's the thing. We're looking over here at the timing line, and we're at that stage in the season where now everything comes down to this, who's going to finish best.
Yeah, and this, again, with this being the championship race in the crown jewel of the desert, as it's called, there's nothing else better to settle a score than a track that's as unique as Phoenix is for no matter what you're driving here, whether it's an Indy car, the trucks, Xfinity Cup, no matter what it is, settling a championship here means you've actually done something well because of how technical this track is, how tough this track is, and how equal the competition can be. As we keep our eyes here focused on some of the points battles, I'm also looking at some of the battles up a little further in front here. Our leader, Jacob Prince, has checked out on everybody to a 2.7 second lead over current points leader Brandon Meyer. So I'm interested to see how this 88 truck's going to be doing once we end up getting to the end of this stage. See if the nighttime is the right time for this 88 to be driving away from everybody. And the interesting thing is he's actually making that high groove work. So it looks like he's actually trying to diamond the corner more. And I think I just saw him downshift. So that's going to be another factor tonight is on the older tires, are people going to be downshifting more? Because once we end up getting into the nighttime, there's going to be a lot more grip in this track. You could end up over-revving the engine. Next thing you know, as we are on the stage break, so I believe we're going to probably see a few pit stops towards the back of this field. The Iracing.com pace truck is waiting to pick everybody up. I wonder how the strategies are going to play out.
Folks, you can see on your screen now as we've finally gotten those graphics taken care of. Brandon Meyer, of course, the drivers highlighted in blue here, they are your playoff drivers who are eligible to win the championship tonight as we are at the end of stage number 1. As right now, it's going to be wholesale pit stops on lap number 21 here. As we come on down pit road, Jacob Prince leading the way ahead of everyone else here in the number 9 Chevrolet Silverado. Want to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. We want to thank everybody for making time in your evening. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Jacob Prince leads the way. He's going to slide into the pit box after qualifying P3. Now Nicholas Snyder going to come into the pit box as well. We see him up here qualifying on the pole. Chris Gilbert, your outside pole finisher. As Brandon Meyer all of a sudden goes from, well, here I am, mired back a little bit, and now the cream rising to the top as 3 out of your 4 playoff drivers are in the top 6.
Yeah, and it looks like Meyer only took gas on this pit stop, so maybe he's saving that set of tires for either the middle or the end of stage 2. That could be a sound strategy towards the
Florida's Nicholas Snyder here in the 5. Brandon Meyer out of Andover, New Hampshire. He's going to be on the front row when we get rocking and rolling again. Lucas Dureski, he's in the 33. He'll be restarting on the inside of row number 2. And Eric Scherer from Bismarck, North Dakota. In fact, have you ever been to Bismarck, North Dakota?
No, actually, I haven't.
Well, see, it's a heck of a place. Oh, I guess. Did you ever watch the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson?
Yes, I have.
That was a bit between Ferguson and Jeff. Have you ever been to New Orleans, Jeff? No, I've never been to New Orleans. Brandon Meyer leading us back to green here as 12 drivers out of the racetrack. 11 if you consider the fact that Joseph Cabral, and you got to be careful there before you cuss in Spanish, is sitting on pit road. As they come through the Geico restart zone, Brandon Meyer takes off and has a commanding lead already over top of Nicholas Snyder, hauling it down toward turn number 1.
Yeah, and Snyder definitely cut that dog leg as they go side by side through turns 1 and 2. Snyder wants to put that HendrickCars.com Chevrolet up front. And I believe he just did. Maybe not.
Maybe not, as Meyer holds on to P2. Snyder now stealing away the lead as he just got the pass over Brandon Meyer. So your top 3 all eligible for the championship. These guys are out here just absolutely trying to turn it up as we ride along here on board with Eric Scherer from Bismarck, North Dakota. He's starting to fall back just a little bit here as Nick Hicks is going to get his way in the Vagisil F1. I just read it as I called it, the Vagisil F-150.
Oh, where's South Park when we need it? I'm dipping on Vagisil!
I'm just saying that one just came out and surprised me, that's for sure, as I'm sure anybody who has to use Vagisil would be surprised. As we work lap number 26 of 98, things are starting to separate themselves a little bit further here as Jacob Prince in the 9 looks to get around the 22 of Eric Scherer. He's not going to be slowed down as Nick Hicks in the 15 just slid on by Brandon Meyer and now goes fastest lap at 27.28 seconds around this piece in Phoenix. Of course, we want to take a quick peek here at our race conditions. 82 degrees on the asphalt, 77 if you're sitting in the stands, but that 82 degrees on the asphalt means that a lot of grip in this racetrack as we start to work here on lap number 28.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to the point that we made yesterday with the trucks at Gateway. With the updates that Iracing has made to the aerodynamics and the side force of these trucks along with the suspension, track temperature is going to play an even bigger factor, as I believe Nick Hicks is looking for the lead.
Yeah, Nick Hicks just made the pass for the lead. We're going to take a quick peek at it because this, I'll tell you what, this move here, this definitely deems a rewatch as we take a peek from high above. Now we can see Hicks setting himself up on the outside from our blimp cam. He gets himself all but on a crossover down the back chute. Of course, the back chute used to be the front stretch, and just dives it right into turn 3. He's not going to be slowed down as he heads on back toward that cactus on the front stretch.
Yeah, I got a feeling he took tires on that pit stop because those are moves you'd be making on sticker tires. And speaking of sticker tires, I believe that 9 truck has worked his way back up to P2 as well with Jacob Prince behind the wheel.
Jacob Prince already back up into P2. He started on the inside of row number 2. Now he sits here just ahead of Nicholas Snyder. And it's almost like these playoff-eligible drivers that are out here for the championship are trying to stick together. It's like they're trying to send a message to the rest of the league as we work lap number 31, almost a third of the way through this race. I can't believe the blistering pace that this league has put on tonight.
Well, it's been relatively clean so far. I haven't noticed anything really damaging for anybody. But there's definitely 2 storylines in this race that we're going to be keeping an eye on. One, of course, is the championship contenders. And, of course, the second one's got to be those who aren't in the championship that are contending for the win to say, hey, look, we might be going into the offseason, but you got to worry about us come next season because we're going to be a threat for you next time around.
Well, even so, taking a look here at the double natural of Zach Beek, I mean, he currently works just over top of the 33 of Lucas Dureski. Now, of course, Dureski here working underneath. They go side by side down the backstretch. These drivers not giving each other any room right now. I mean, there's plenty of real estate available on the racetrack, but these guys, especially Zach Beek, who's, a lot of times in these races, the non-playoff drivers are almost asked, or it's like an unwritten thing in motorsports, just get out of their way. They're playoff drivers, they're championship eligible, while you may not be. But you know what? I'm almost proud of these drivers who are not playoff contending drivers to be up here in the top two, and of course here battling side by side for P9 and now P8 as Zach Beeke runs around Lucas Dureski.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is race them with respect. You're perfectly fine, but of course you race them too hard, and we're going to hear radio chatter come up the next week. Why was he racing me this hard? I'm a championship driver. It doesn't matter. The fact is, you're sharing the track with everybody else. Everyone is fair game. Playoffs or not.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things, and this was always frustrating to me before I hung up the racing gloves, when I was a driver and I happened to be out there, let's just say for argument's sake, having a good night on the racetrack. Don't rain on my parade. Don't urinate in my Cheerios. Hey, I'm doing better than you are. Sorry for your luck. I happen to be ahead of you. I'm not getting out of your way. I've earned this position.
Exactly. You don't need to roll over because they're a playoff driver. You're still out there trying to make a name for yourself. You're trying to pick up the best position possible. Try to have the momentum going into next season. You're going to force those guys to go around you. Now, granted, they might end up getting frustrated after a while and use you up a little bit, but you never know. They might get around you clean. Who knows? But you're doing everything you can to make headway into next season at this point right now.
37 laps in the books. Now, everybody came down on lap number 21, so we're obviously, plowing our way through this piece tonight. I mean, these drivers have not even come close to turning it down, and quite frankly, I don't blame them. Of course, as we move through here, there's actually, a couple of things that we need to keep an eye on. Of course, quite frankly, well, this is strange. No, it's not. I looked at the wrong... Nothing. Some of us need to learn how to read. He can't even read.
It's that Philly edumacation.
Well, thank God I didn't go to Philadelphia's public school system, that's for sure. But you know what? Speaking of which, so my alma mater, Tulpehocken High School, just outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, they're going through a face change. They're redoing the high school. I mean, completely gutting and basically demolishing half of it. The building was built in 1964. So they're basically demolishing and rebuilding a majority of the school. So they were getting rid of the old furniture, the desks, the teachers' desks, the chairs, the student desks. And I thought it would be cool to have an old student desk from my high school, right? So yeah, I see the post. I call my buddy's mom, and I said, hey, since I know that she works in that neck of the woods, I said, can you just run by the district, by the school, and see if you can pick one of these things up for me? She says, sure. So this is 2 hours. In 2 hours, everything was cleared out of the parking lot.
Oh, go figure.
The one time I wanted to get a little bit nostalgic about the old alma mater, and I can't.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. I hear you, believe me.
Hicks and Prince getting ready to go at it, hammer and tongs here. Keep in mind that Stage 2 is going to end at the conclusion of lap number 78. There's 3 total sets of tires with 1 fast repair tonight, as Nick Hicks holds on to the lead ahead of Jacob Prince. Prince, of course, qualifying in P3, has worked his way up here onto the front row, and they are starting to gap the field by an insane amount as they're all but working together. Now, all over the rear bumper as we're going to go right here to the nose. We're going to see something crazy if Jacob Prince from Greenwood, South Carolina, gets any closer there. It almost looked like he took way too much air off the rear of the Vagisil F-150 driven by Nick Hicks. And I mean, Jacob Prince came closer than anybody has so far to get around him. Right now, these two drivers have gapped the rest of the field by more than 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, these are definitely going to be the two trucks to watch as this race goes any further forward. So I think these guys are going to be the ones to put on the show. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the playoff drivers, but I'm definitely watching these two trucks right now because this is the entertainment factor that we need right now in this part of the race.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I cannot overstate Beaverton, Oregon. That's where Nick Hicks is from. No wonder he's got Vagisil as a
oh my God!
As a sponsor. And the easy, low-hanging fruit wins again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Want to welcome everyone into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know who you're pulling for tonight. Is with a connection issue. Prince is starting to flash out here on the low side of Hicks as they go side by side through the front stretch around the dogleg. All of a sudden, Hicks just takes the lead, and your new race leader here on lap number 45 is Jacob Prince.
Well, Hicks is trying to fight back, though, but cannot do it. I guess Prince just got that run coming off of turn 2 and just made it stick, but Hicks is trying again on the bottom.
Jacob Prince and Nick Hicks still going at it, and they have now extended their lead all but to 5 seconds. And this is, I was talking about this the other night. Now, when I think Phoenix Raceway, I think Kevin Harvick. This was one of those happy Harvick tracks where he would suddenly get that clean air and start gapping the field by miles. And right now, that's what Jacob Prince and Nick Hicks have done, even while Zach Beek and Chris Gilbert go at it. Now, Gilbert here in the 45, he's trying to hold on to 7th position just ahead of Zach Beek. And now, all of a sudden, he starts to hit a little bit of clean air and runs now in 7th position. Brandon Meyer, a playoff-eligible driver, now down a lap as it looks like he has come in on lap number 42 for a set of tires. Jacob Prince, though, our race leader, starting to gap Nick Hicks by almost 0.4 of a second. But as I was starting to say, Kevin Harvick back in the day, when he would hit that clean air here, it's like he had a sailboat and the wind at his heels. I mean, it was almost a thing of beauty. And to some degree, it would cause me watching TV on Fox or on NBC to just change the channel because I knew what was about to happen the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, especially in his days when he was driving for RCR, when that 29 car found clean air here at Phoenix, it was game over. It didn't matter if it was the fall race. It didn't matter if it was the spring race. Once he found that clean air in that 29 car, checked out of the field by miles. It was frustrating as a fan. I'll be honest.
Don't get me wrong. Like, there are some times in some tracks where, you know, you see that certain driver hit the clean air and you know that they're about to take off and you're thinking, all right, well, I'll check in periodically, but I wonder if golf is on.
Yeah. And that was definitely, this is one of those tracks when, if it was Harvick, you were definitely watching golf. I mean, it was here, it was Richmond for the most part, towards the middle section of 2000s, and of course, Atlanta.
Speaking of the 29, peeking in here on the 29, driven by Reggie Packard. He's up 6 positions after starting in 11th, and he's got the DeWalt machine cranked up to crazy right now as he's chasing down Eric Scherer. He looks to break up another pair of playoff drivers. Right now, Meyer is the only one down a lap. Of course, he ceded that lap over due to coming in for pit service, and now it looks like we may start to see a couple of other drivers do the same thing. Gary Mansberger slides back into 10th position as Dureski just wrestles away 9th from him. Now Mansberger here runs here out of turn 4. Dureski runs in P9 right now. So checking in with our playoff driver, Nicholas Snyder, here running in P3. He's just about a second and then some over Eric Scherer, driving here in the double deuce. Then, of course, Dureski, we just mentioned, is back here in P9, and a lap down is Brandon Meyer. And the question that I have is, does Brandon Meyer know something that we don't? And oftentimes, especially this early in the race, it causes you to forget about, you know, that random pit stop that he made off cycle from everyone else while he proceeds to bite your butt there in that third and final stage.
Well, he may be trying to actually get ahead in that third and final stage because we all know everyone's going to end up taking tires. for that third and final stage, because what they've got now is going to be completely blown off. So it's a matter of, does he think he can hold on older tires and cycle up to the front, or is he just trying to maybe play a little something and hope for a caution in that final stage to take on another set of tires?
Working our way toward lap number 78. Of course, we're about 24 laps away from the end of stage 2, so this may be where Meyer tries to stretch this set of tires out. That gives him a little bit of an advantage coming in there, as everyone else going to and now that I'm doing the math in my head, now Meyer is going to get that lap back the natural way, assuming that we don't have a caution between now and lap 78. Then, of course, when we get to 78, he'll be at the front. Everybody will come in because you'll only have 20 laps to the end of this piece, and all of a sudden at that point, then he will be in the best position to win.
Yeah, easily, because he's going to have everyone else behind him. Now, granted, everyone's going to have a fresh set of tires sitting on their truck. It's just a matter of now who's going to have the best positioning. And if he's going to be able to cycle up to the lead through this could be how he wins the championship.
56 laps in the books here at Phoenix Raceway. Dave Regal and Shane Lake with you here on the Quick in the Gunners for Safety Rating Truck Series. I'll tell you what, this has got to be one of the coolest logos that I see in all of iRacing. It's simple, yet it has that NASCAR taste to it, and it has, of course, the font that just says, "Yo, I'm here."
Yeah, and when it comes to leagues, we've seen our fair share of logos. This definitely ranks up there with easily inside the top 5 for me when it comes down to league logos.
Just over 20 to go here in stage number 2. Jacob Prince, your race leader, he and Nick Hicks have just completely run away with these top 2 positions. You have to start to wonder who's going to blink first when it comes to... Never mind. Nope. Oh, of course, that was the old Phoenix fake out here on SDK, as our timing and scoring said, no, he's not coming down. But Stephen Magoo is... I don't know if he's related to Mr. Magoo, perhaps. Gary Mansberger, the same thing. He's coming off of pit road now in the 86. So Magoo coming down. And this is going to be an interesting move because he's right in the middle of things. So basically, these guys are going to have to wait until we rack stack and do it all over again once we come back for stage number 3.
Yeah, because right now, as we see, I believe our leader coming in, Jacob Prince. Maybe
there he is.
A strategy play.
There he is, Jacob Prince coming down pit road. That's going to hand the lead over and the torch to Nick Hicks, as Jacob Prince now going to be down on pit road. That's going to put him into the clutches of the rest of the field, while Nick Hicks is just out here logging laps. At this point, he's all but 6 seconds, about 5.82 seconds ahead of Nicholas Snyder, and 11 seconds back to Reggie Packard, and then some. And those 3 drivers have not come in yet. Zach Beek, same way. He's running in P5 right now. Jacob Prince sliding through the standings. And the hard part about this place is the distance that pit road has to it. I mean, you enter basically at the beginning of turn 1, and you exit at the entrance to turn 3.
Yeah, it is probably one of the longest time-wise pit roads that NASCAR has. So it's also one of the toughest ones because there's so many timing lines that if you step over it just once and you think, oh, I can maybe get away with it, no. Phoenix will come back and bite you because it's very easy to get a speeding penalty.
Speaking of coming back and biting, let's see what happened with Chris Gilbert here. I saw a little bit of a fishtail as he was just behind our race leader. And here it comes, just a little bit of a wiggle. That's the cold tire bug getting ready to bite him. And fortunately, Gilbert able to reel it back in there in the 45 machine. As now Nicholas Snyder in the 5 truck is going to come down pit road. And let's just ride along with him on this entry to pit road. Now, he came in here. He's got to come through turn 3, and it almost feels like every pit stall at this place is in the middle of a turn. And, the biggest thing here is that when this racetrack originally was open, the front stretch was the back stretch was the front stretch. So originally, this would not have been a long pit road. as now Nicholas Snyder, our pole sitter, comes down for 4 tires in the tank of Go Fast. And we can see that here he's going to come out all but in the middle of this dogleg and shoot out at turn 1. So literally he just did an entire lap on pit road.
Yeah, I remember when this place was first opened up and they had that back straightaway almost pretty much wide open where he came out of, because for the longest time, not only was that grass on the bottom, but they had the rumble strip there. But there was literally no fencing for the longest time because it was an outlet for the emergency vehicle. So it would have this weird opening for a good 200-300 yards before it came back to actually being concrete for the back wall. So Phoenix has undergone some really different changes from when we first started watching this place as it opened up to where we are now. And it's definitely thrown a lot of guys for loops as time has gone on.
Now, I want you to look at something real quick here. Just because he stayed out as long as he has, Nick Hicks is about to have lapped the field as he gets ready to work over top of Zach Beek. Now, and I say that because here's Beek in the 77. Here's Hicks now on his outside as they come down the backstretch. Now Nick Hicks has literally lapped the entire field. Zach Beek still has yet to come down pit road, and at this point, if he does, he's going to go down 2 laps. So now he has to wait for Hicks to come down as he's going to hold on for dear life. As Nick Hicks has gotten around everyone on the field, it's almost like batting around the order in baseball.
The only thing that I can compare this to is Jeff Bodine at North Wilkesboro in 1994, the fall race. Whoa, we got a spin in the back. 29 truck.
The 29 of Reggie Packard has now crashed about 10 laps shy of the end of stage 2 here, and here he is. That's the cold tire bug coming to bite him, as he was just in on lap number 63. He manages to just nudge that inside wall.
You know, that's the one thing I've noticed with this new update, the biggest change. The cold tire bug seems to be a lot more prevalent for the first handful of laps these guys run these tires. I've done some testing laps here trying to get ready for this race, and I'm telling you right now, I was fighting the truck. So it's pretty bad on cold tires early.
Hopefully we get a chance here to talk to Nick Hicks as we ride along with him on board, as we're going to see if we can find him here in the Discord. Nope, he is not in the Discord. So unfortunately not going to be able to interview Hicks, but that also traps most of the field a lap down.
As I was saying, Jeff Bodine, 94 North Wilkesboro, I think it was the Holly Farms 400. He lapped the entire field on his way to winning, so to see it in an online race is just that insane to think about.
Well, and here we are, 30 to go overall, 10 left this time by, as Nick Hicks rolls off of pit road in the lead. They're all going to have to come back around as he gets himself loaded up here for bear on what's now the freshest set of tires.
This is definitely going to be an interesting finish because everyone else is going to have to come back around, join back up with him, but they're also on slightly older tires, so he's going to be able to pull away.
Want to take the quick opportunity here to talk to Brandon Meyer, driver of the number 34. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, man, listen, we see you down here coming onto pit road. We can be quiet if you'd like. That's your call.
No, that's okay.
So, listen, here you are. You sit here, literally mired back in the field. What's going to be the strategy now with this final stage as you try to bring one home to Andover, New Hampshire?
The goal is to hopefully the rest of the field wrecks. Way I see it now, I'm out of it, which sucks. I wish the leaders were able to pit there and get back on the lead lap, but it just ain't going to happen, I don't think. So.
No, I mean, Nick Hicks, realistically, Nick Hicks did not want to see this caution come out. I mean, quite frankly, as a race fan, I don't blame him. But, take us through this season and how you wound up here, in this championship format.
Apparently, it was consistent finishes. I missed the first couple weeks, had other things going on, and just top fives throughout the year. A couple people not showing here and there, and lo and behold, here I am in the championship 4. So, I want a trophy, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an impressive year. I mean, we were looking at some of the information before coming in to tonight's race, and I mean, you know, I personally cannot believe that, you know, you've gotten this far and there's just 4 of you left here atop the pile. I think this is awesome and a great finish to the season.
Yes, bunch of good guys here in this group. Hold on, I'm looking at something. Nick's definitely the one to beat. I can be fast here and there, so we'll see how we go. I'm going to get back to concentrating here. We're going green.
All right, man. Good luck.
All right, thank you very much.
Well, Nick Hicks, fresh set of tires as the pace truck turned down pit road there in the middle of turn 2. Here we go, 3 and 4. The Geico restart zone awaits everybody. Barney's going to be waving the green flag. We only got a handful of laps left in the stage. Geico restart zone through, and Nick Hicks brings him down a little bit slow and then fires off and immediately cuts the dog leg to try to open up a gap on everybody else.
You know, this is something that we've seen that's becoming more and more prevalent on the iRacing.com servers. Drivers actually kind of dogging that Geico restart zone. You know, more often than not, when it first came out, guys were like, oh, now I can drop the hammer early, and everybody was expecting it. And now that pendulum has swung the other direction, and now it's more like, oh, I guess I don't have to wait. As we take a look here at the 34 of Brandon Meyer, of course, we just were speaking with him here as he's going to have to work his way around Nick Hicks. As Meyer's down a lap, he's going to try to get one back the old-fashioned way. Just 7 cars on the lead lap, Meyer and Dureski, as now Meyer works his way past, going to get that lap back the good old-fashioned way. He's got 5 to go. That's going to be interesting when we get ready to restack at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, and going back to the restart zone, I'll admit right now, I've always been more of the other way on the restart zone, and I've been bitten twice by it. Where I've tried to anticipate the green flag, and I've always gone maybe a split second too early. So I've had to back my timing down a little bit. So the pendulum has gone both ways, but especially on restart, you'll see guys kind of laying back a little bit as the 34 gets a nasty little wiggle coming off the corner, leaving the 15 to try to cut the apron to get back around them.
Yeah, the 15 is not going to be put to bed early tonight as he just laid the fast lap of the race down at 27.03 seconds. That's almost a tenth faster than the last time somebody laid fast time down. So, and that was Eric Shearer at 27.12. So these drivers are not going to be put to bed early tonight as Nick Hicks leads this piece here on lap number 76. Going to be 2 to go next time by.
Yeah, he's got about a second gap on Jacob Prince in that 9 truck, so he's still hauling off pretty well, even on as late as this race has been. So tire fall off hasn't been that hard. And speaking of going sub-27s, I believe Nick Hicks just went 26.99.
First driver to go sub-27 is our race leader, Nick Hicks. As Shane just mentioned, Shane and Dave up here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to welcome everybody in tonight. Thank you for tuning in with us, welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones. As we take a peek here, just a few of you watching us on YouTube, make sure that you get a hold of those friends and family members, have them check this race out as we get deeper into the night. As there are basically, at the end of this lap, going to be 20 laps left in the season, and right now it looks like Nicholas Snyder poised to be our champion.
Yeah, he's been really consistent this race, been keeping the truck relatively clean. He's been up front for the majority of this. So it wouldn't surprise me to see, well, with it being a Larson paint job, that might have a little something to do with a championship hunt. Yes. Hunt.
Sorry, I was watching the Vagisil paint scheme. As Nick Hicks crosses the start-finish line, that's going to get ready to trigger our caution for the end of stage 2, or maybe it won't. I thought I was expecting to see a caution at the end of stage 2, and here we go with 20 laps left in the season.
Apparently they're having too much fun racing right now, trying to settle this.
I'm just double checking our figures here on the stat page and making sure everything is legit.
Supposed to be lap 78. That's what I've got written down.
Well, that's what I show here on Discord.
Maybe Race Control decided to say, you know what, let's run this thing out.
You know, and a tip of the cap to Race Control, because to me, that is the most thankless job in all of auto racing, whether you're a race director for NASCAR or, you know, some guy sitting in sweatpants watching a race for iRacing. I mean, you know, every decision that you make is going to be questioned, whether you throw the caution or you don't, whether you clear the black flags or you don't. As most of this field has got itself strung out like it's a methadone clinic, everybody plenty of space between themselves. In fact, closest battle right now is Nicholas Snyder to Zach Beek here in this battle for third position. But even as we pull up the battle box, you can already see that there's just 0.3 of a second, and Snyder's not making a whole lot of hay trying to get up there.
I'm wearing sweatpants broadcasting the race. What are you trying to say?
I'm doing gym shorts.
Hey, at least we're comfortable.
It's part of my uniform.
Especially when it's like 90-odd degrees outside. Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm always fascinated by the fact that, you know, I live here just about 15 minutes outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I can only put myself in the shoes of those who were at the Continental Congress in 1776, and there they are debating whether or not to proclaim independence from, you know, England, and it's got to be warm in those wool outfits and the stockings and the hair, and it had to have been absolutely miserable.
It had to have been the absolute worst in that time frame. I'm so glad we're not there now, because bigger people like myself, we would have probably been dead and buried by now.
Well, to be fair, all of those that were at that Continental Congress are also dead and buried. Side by side, all of a sudden, wow, goes Nicholas Snyder and Zach Beek, as Snyder here in the 5 truck works along the double natural of Beek, and they go basically door handle to door handle coming down the backstretch as they look at turn number 3. All of a sudden, hauling it into the bottom of turn 3 is Nicholas Snyder. We've got a battle for third.
Yeah, and they've also reeled in Jacob Prince, who has fallen well off the tailgate of the 15 of Nick Hicks. He's fallen off 3.3 seconds and right into these guys' clutches. So we got ourselves a battle for second.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Nicholas Snyder puts Jacob Prince in the crosshairs. He's going to do the exact same thing to Prince as he did just a moment ago to Beek, as he hauls it down here into the bottom. Now, all of a sudden, championship contender Nicholas Snyder slides into P2 just for a second as they go battling down here into turn number 1. 12 laps to go in the season.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'd be racing this hard if I was Snyder, because his closest competitor points-wise, Eric Shearer, is sitting back there in, I believe, 5th place. So I don't know if I'd be battling this hard if I was him. He's got a comfortable advantage. So why risk it?
I mean, while you're up here battling for second position, Nick Hicks is running away with a 3.5-second lead. Wow, right across the nose goes the 9 of Jacob Prince as he goes right across the 77. And he is now on his tail. Let's go on board here with Prince. My God, he wants P3 back in the worst way. He wants to finish this season off with a podium finish as he now looks to the inside of the dogleg. He's going to line those left wheels up with that yellow line to slingshot his way up here to the entry of turn 1.
One thing about the dogleg that I'd be concerned about right
now.
Here
he goes!
Oh!
And with 10 laps to go in the season, Jacob Prince just backed into the wall of turn 1 in a way that is just not fun. Let's take a look here as we had been sitting right on top of him. It's not very often that we're sitting right on top of the truck that loses control. He hit second gear. Oh, he caught the apron.
Yeah, left front tire caught the apron, upset the truck, and around it goes. And relatively hard contact defense. We have got, looks like a split strategy here. We've got a couple of the championship contenders coming in to get the last set of tires. This is going to be interesting to see how this shakes up.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, as we get this out of the way, we pull this back up. I mean, Snyder's coming down for pit service. He, Gilbert, Prince, and Shearer all coming down. Of course, Prince getting some repairs done. But Snyder coming here is going to put him on the freshest tires with the fewest laps to go here in the race. And God forbid we should go to NASCAR overtime. That's going to put him in an incredible position to try to get up here and duke it out with Nick Hicks for the checkered flag and the championship trophy.
Well, let's not forget, we also got Lucas in the 33 who's involved in the points hunt as well. This may have really shaken up the strategy for the championship.
Nick Hicks going to be our race leader when we go back green flag racing in about 2 laps, as he's going to be followed by Zach Beeks, Stephen McGough, Nicholas Snyder, Eric Shearer, Jacob Prince, Brandon Myers still on pit road, Chris Gilbert running in 8th position right now, and Gary Mansberger and Reggie Packard rounding out your top 10, as Lucas Dureski looks like he has taken a resty here, as it looks like he's just kind of mired down here 2 laps.
Yeah, so apparently now the championship will be basically decided from what I'm looking at between Nick Snyder and Eric Shearer, 5 in the 22. Unless Brandon Meyer can come back out of no man's land, I think we're going to end up seeing a relatively interesting battle. So now my question is, with all these trucks that did come down pit road with these tires, can Nick Hicks hold them off as the lights are out on the pace truck? Looks like it's going to be Hicks and Beek on the front row. Stephen McGough and Nick Snyder will make up your second row. Eric Shearer and Chris Gilbert sitting in row 3. And the pace truck has made the hard left-hand turn to go down pit road. This is the other unique thing about Phoenix is it takes a while to get to the restart zone.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I swear that was right on the tip of the tongue. As, basically this leaves a lot to be, under the control of your race leader. As we come into turn number 4, one last time, it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, 6 laps to go, 5 when we get to the line. Race fans, it's championship night here at Phoenix.
Well, it's a relatively similar idea. It's just poking.
Nick Hicks gets the jump over the rest of the field, but they go 3 wide behind him. As we look from above, my God, all of a sudden Nicholas Snyder and Eric Shearer chasing him down like they owe him money. Let's ride along here with Nicholas Snyder, as we're going to be paying close attention to this young man from Marco Island, Florida. He is suddenly side by side with Nick Hicks and steals the lead away from Hicks here in the final 4 laps of the season. Now he looks to the inside. He's got to slide up and take this away. That's going to allow Hicks to try to look for the crossover move. As long as Nicholas Snyder can keep that Chevrolet Silverado 4 wide, he has just sealed the deal here for the championship trophy.
Those fresh tires are the biggest thing going for him right now. He's just got to drive away from everybody. Don't worry about looking in the rearview mirror. Just take your marks and focus out the front. The back end will take care of itself.
26.81 seconds. Now the fast time as side by side goes Shearer and Hicks. So now it's all up to these 2 drivers. Both of them here eligible for the championship. Meyer back in 7th, Dureski back in 10th. As they cross the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go.
And Nick Snyder has checked out. I don't think that 22's got anything left for him. He's going to have to hope for a caution the next half a lap in order to chase him down. And if it doesn't happen, I believe Nick Snyder's going to be our champion.
All of a sudden, the cream has risen to the top in the Gunr4sR rating truck series. As Nicholas Snyder rolls across the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks are down and the white flag's in the air. We're racing back to checkers.
With a 1.2 second lead, Snyder can just roll the corners and hit his marks. There is nothing out that rear view mirror. Coming down that back straightaway, he's going to be looking at turns 3 and 4 one last time. And coming out of turn number 4, your champion here, Nick Snyder.
Nicholas Snyder rolls across the start-finish line and now slides through turns 1 and 2. He wants to go dirt track racing once more here in the truck series as it goes Snyder, Shearer, Hicks, Gilbert, Beek, Meyer, Stephen McGaw, your lead lap cars crossing the start-finish line, all 8 of them. Nicholas Snyder, you are the man.
That late strategy to get those tires is what proved to be vital for Nick to win this championship, and he's going to make sure there's nothing left of those tires now.
No, he's going to shred those like a chicken for a barbecue, that's for sure, as Nicholas Snyder celebrates on the start-finish line here on the apron at Phoenix Raceway. We're going to see if we can pull him up here into the broadcast booth in just a moment, as now I'm looking for him.
Talk about a celebratory burnout. That is a thing of beauty right there. Looks like he's putting Van Gisbergen's Portland burnout to shame.
Waiting for these championship drivers in the top 3 to come here into the broadcast booth as they're all waiting for their Discord permissions.
Yeah, it's going to take a couple of minutes. I mean, that's just normal. Oh.
While Nicholas Snyder is celebrating here going down pit road, we want to thank everybody for tuning into Championship Night here on Sim Racing Media. And, of course, welcoming you in, at least for Shane and I, for the first time into the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Of course, we do have this broadcast booth named for the great Tony Trapasso, who was the glue that held this ship together for several years at this company. And let me tell you, I can only consider him to be the best friend I wish I would have had for my whole life instead of just the last couple of years. Tony Trapasso was an absolute gem of a human being. As Nicholas Snyder trying to crawl his way, there he goes, up onto the victory lane checkers. And so you folks, when you hear the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth, just know that he was one of the greatest humans alive and someone that I miss very much as he tragically passed away last year. And like I said, he was just an awesome human being for all to know. As we wait for Nicholas Snyder to hopefully slide in here to the Discord channel. We'll wait just a few more moments.
You know, that's the one thing a lot of people don't realize about Phoenix is it is one of the only places where you can actually drive into Victory Lane.
Yeah, the Iracing.com servers are usually pretty tight when it comes to where you can and can't be. As we pull up the final results from tonight, still waiting for drivers to come in on here. I believe this is Nicholas Snyder. Hey, Nicholas, it's David and Shane up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going, guys?
Man, listen, it's going good for us, but it's going even better for you. I mean, holy crap, man. You come across the line first. You get that championship trophy. How are you feeling tonight?
Pretty good. Definitely got lucky tonight with that late race caution, you know, with people pitting. they're on the stage taking tires, and um, these races all year kind of came down to tire management, or um, how hard do you want to use up your sets quick, because we only get two, so you just got to choose wisely from it.
Yeah, and obviously you rolled the dice and hit on red, that's for sure. As you were able to get the 5 truck into victory lane, and which we were just talking about is kind of interesting, especially at a place here like Phoenix, where basically it's the only track on one of the few tracks on iRacing where you can get physically into victory lane.
Yeah, I actually picked that up last year. When I won to race last year. I wasn't part of the championship last year, and I didn't race enough races. So I figured that part out last year when somebody mentioned it to me.
Well, I know you've got some time here between seasons. So before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank? Who helped you get it done this season on the 5 truck, and who do you need to shout out tonight?
Everybody that's watching, on the television or YouTube. Julie, Ian, Billy, my agent, for sticking with me in real life racing with 360s and stuff, and as much as they do for me. So I appreciate y'all watching, and appreciate everyone that took the time to watch tonight.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations once again on the 2024 season championship here, and we will see you next season, hopefully full time here on Sim Racing Media.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
That, of course, the voice of your champion, Nicholas Snyder, as he is now going to go into full elation mode, that's for sure. Next, and certainly not least here, should be Eric Shearer. Hey, Eric, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, ran P2 here at the end of this race, came up a little bit short in the championship. What did you think you needed to chase down that 5 truck of Snyder to possibly get the championship wrapped away from him?
Man, he's just so good here at Phoenix. I'm not the best. This is admittedly one of my worst tracks. I kind of knew that the only way I was going to beat him was going to be lucky with either pit strategy or a short run to the finish. And I got a short run, but on the restart, got kind of bottled up behind a couple of guys on old tires, and he was able to get by him a lot easier than I was. So, and then once he got clear, he was a good half-second clear, and I was going to be able to track him back down. We were on equal tires at that point. So, it is what it is. I kind of thought before the second caution there, I was going to have a good green flag strategy there, but kind of all the cautions kind of evened everything out and just came down to raw pace, and definitely was faster.
Well, before we cut you loose, who do you guys think to help you get things done on the Double Deuce truck?
Yeah, I've been running Junior Motorsports all year. Appreciate them helping us out, but thanks to everyone in the league for Gunr4sR for racing with us all year. Trucks, we do trucks every season or two, and always puts on a great show. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to the Xfinity Series when that starts up next month on Wednesday nights. I'm sure that'll put on a good show too.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Congratulations on the P2 finish, and hopefully we see you guys full-time here on SRM.
Yep, thanks for doing it, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And last but certainly not least here on the podium tonight, thought it was supposed to be, I guess not. Lucas, is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Well,
Hello,
I
guys.
couldn't get Nick Hicks in here to the chat, so I want to chat with you one last time before we get out of here tonight. Listen, it was a rough night here for the 33, but you were still a championship contending driver. What are you looking forward to for next season?
Yeah, that was a hard race, really. But Nick, Eric, and Brandon, they are really good. And I was basically surprising this playoff final. But I was trying to do everything what I could, and then I was really surprised about the yellow flag coming out. Really surprised, and suddenly I was 2 laps down, couldn't do anything. Yeah, looking forward for the Xfinity next season, Xfinity in 1 month time. And I didn't race for a long time, then that's gonna be fun.
All right, my friend. Well, listen. Congratulations on the attempt at making the championship this year. We look forward to the Xfinity Series. Hopefully, we see you full time here on the SRM airwaves. So, congratulations, and we'll see you next season.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Shane, this was although that it was a little clunky getting onto YouTube a little while ago. I'm glad that we were able to get up and running and watch the end of this incredible season.
Yeah, these guys put on a whale of a show. As I said, tire strategy played a huge factor in tonight's race. It actually ended up determining the champion, and Nick Schneider just played his cards right and ended up coming away with the championship trophy.
One final look before we get out of here tonight. Nicholas Snyder takes home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium with Eric Shearer and Nick Hicks. Nicholas Snyder, of course, also your season champion, driving the number 5 Chevrolet Silverado. Chris Gilbert and Zach Beek round out your top 5, while Brandon Meyer, Stephen McGough, Gary Mansberger, Lucas Dureski, and Reggie Packard make up your top 10. Jacob Prince finishes 11th, with Joseph Cabral rounding out the rest of the field in the 05, finishing in 12th position. Emiliano Cortez, Samson Leonard, and Joe Marks not able to take the start tonight. So for myself, Dave Regal, and Shane Lake here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, we want to thank all of you for tuning in. We hope that you'll join us again here on Sim Racing Media. Actually, you can tune in with the two of us tomorrow in the Racers Elite Cup Series as we bring you finale action from Atlanta Motor Speedway as they are getting ready to wrap up their season tomorrow night right here at 7:30 on Sim Racing Media. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everyone.
Until we meet again, take care.